Hello and welcome. I'm Asuma Katauka and you're watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's take a look at these top headlines of this hour. Russian officials have arrived in Geneva for talks with US and Ukrainian teams aimed at ending the years-long conflict in Ukraine. US President Donald Trump hopes Ukraine reaches a deal with Russia fast. US President Donald Trump said that he would be involved indirectly in high-stakes talks between Iran and the US over Tehran's nuclear program in Geneva, adding he believed Tehran wanted to make a deal. Bangladesh's Prime Minister-to-be Tariq Rahman and lawmakers are sworn into parliament, becoming the first elected representative since a deadly 2024 uprising. President Donald Trump has said Cuba was a failed nation and called on Havana to make a deal. Washington is in talks with Cuba's highest people just days after he threatened the island's struggling economy with what he described as a virtual oil blockade. New Mexico lawmakers have passed legislation to launch what they said was a first full investigation into what happened at Zorro Ranch, where the late U.S. sex offender Jeffrey Epstein is accused of trafficking and sexually assaulting girls and women. A bipartisan committee will seek testimony from survivors of alleged sexual abuse at the ranch, located about 30 miles south of Santa Fe. Heavy rains and strong winds have lashed New Zealand in recent days, killing one man, flooding large areas and cutting power links to tens of thousands across New Zealand's North Island. French President Emmanuel Macron begins a 3-day visit to India today, with talks focused on artificial intelligence cooperation and a potential multi-billion-dollar Dassault Rafale fighter jet deal. 3 people, including the suspect, were fatally shot during a Rhode Island youth hockey game. Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Goncalves told reporters that 3 other victims were hospitalized and in critical condition. The shooter died from an apparent self-inflicted gun wound, she has said. Now we start this hour with India. India and France have alleviated their ties to a special strategic partnership, with President Macron thanking Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi for a warm welcome on his 4th visit to India. Macron has described the bilateral relationship as remarkable and unique, focusing on cooperation in the Indo-Pacific, technology and a rule-based order. Both nations have launched joint initiatives like the IMEC Corridor, AI collaboration, and the International Solar Alliance. Prime Minister Modi has inaugurated a helicopter assembly line in India, reflecting the deep trust between the two nations. The line will produce the world's only helicopter able to reach Mount Everest's heights and is set for global exports. He also launched the India-France Year of Innovation to boost people-to-people ties, focusing on defense, clean energy, space, and technological collaboration. Now we welcome retired Major General Sudhakarji. He's a senior geopolitical and strategic defense expert, joins us live from Jaipur. Thank you very much, Major General Sudhakarji, for joining us. Good to see you.
Thank you, Asuma. Good evening to you.
Thank you. Now, looking at France and India, exciting news coming in. How do you think this, the cooperation, including in the helicopter and defense cooperation, including the Rafale jets, how do you think this will be evolving? France and India, both their relationship, and how do you think this will evolve India moving forward?
Yeah, Asuma, good evening once again, and thank you for inviting me for your show. It's a very strategic decision being taken by India and a collaborative effort being made by India and France together. Not that India is buying any kind of weapon platform for the first time from France. Ever since the percentage of dependency with Russia has started going down post Galwan incident of 2020. Earlier it used to be around 76%. Now it is down to 36%. India has been able to successfully diversify its military hardware with countries other than Russia, thereafter. With France, it has reached a percentage of 36% and a little more than that, I would say. And that includes the Rafale squadrons and the helicopter one which you are talking of. You see, out of the two, both are equally important, if not more, with each other. But the Rafale one is going to directly address the deficiencies or the vacuum being created because of phasing out of the aerial platforms, fighter jets from Indian Air Force, in a rather very tight time frame. See, 2021, the last squadron of MiG-21 was phased out. Then you have the MiG-29, 27, 28, they will be phased out. Thereafter, you have the UG variety, that is also going to be phased out. Then your Jaguar series, Mirage and Jaguars, they will be phased out by 2030. So therefore, to fill up the void, there is an urgent requirement to induct a matching class of fighter jets, if not better, matching with the adversaries, the northern adversary of India and the western adversary. Now here the point comes, why go in for a 4.5 generation? Rafale is a 4.5 generation when China is going in for 6th generation. And supplying, also promised to supply Jet 35 to Pakistan. So these are the questions which will keep coming up. Still, you see, something is better than nothing in the existing kitty on inventory in the world. So this is a massive project which is going in. And the best part is the technology transfer is going to take place. They are going to be, the entire Rafale ecosystem in a way, indirectly you can say it is virtually being sold out, being bought by India, and the industry is going to be set up here in India. The criticality lies in the S code. As of now, France has not given clear indications that S code can be given, because S code is that mechanism which enables easy integration of the warheads of the host country. That is, India's missiles can be fitted into the pods which are made for French missiles. So that S code they haven't given, but they have assured all kinds of support to establish the ecosystem at the earliest, so that the missile system available in India's inventory can be integrated with the platforms which we are buying. That would actually mitigate the urgent and the immediate requirement. The requirement also has to be seen from the perspective, Asoma, that we are down to the size of 29 squadrons, and given all these facts of aging fleets which are going to be phased out, the strength of the fighter jets of Indian Air Force will come down drastically to almost 50%. So therefore, by 2030-35, there is a requirement to go in for Rafale, which is by far the best. It gives you the state-of-the-art technology, it gives you the requisite avionics beyond visual range, and the effectiveness of Rafale also has been adequately demonstrated during Operation Sindoor. And last but not the least is the issue regarding the competitive market around F-35 of America. They won't give the technical know-how. Su-57 is also coming into the fray. Negotiations, I suppose, rightful thinking would be going in, and you can well understand what are the frontiers, the three fronts of India, what is happening in Pakistan, China and Bangladesh. Bangladesh is already negotiating with Pakistan for JF-15, that is the Thunder, which is being developed in collaboration with China and Pakistan. They are directly dealing with China also for J-10C. J-10C is a 4.5 generation. Now, India has to make some kind of a initiative has to be taken, or it has already started, as far as the development of Safran engine, for which separate budget had been allocated. There is a mission aerospace engine which has come into existence in past couple of maybe a 1 year's time. I only hope that that actually takes us to the end state that we are looking for. Otherwise, the aerospace engine which had been promised by GE, USA GE, 414 and 404, it is far too much delayed, and therefore it is going to impact the operational preparedness of Indian Air Force. Hence, the visit of France president assumes very, very important milestones as far as Indo-French relationships are concerned, and as far as the military preparations are concerned, in addition to the AI event which is ongoing in India today. Back to you, Suma.
Thank you very much. With that, I would like to thank Major General Sadakarji for joining us and sharing that insight with us. Thank you. Now we move on to Iran. Iran has reiterated that the lifting of U.S. sanctions is a non-negotiable aspect of any nuclear deal with the United States. Speaking in Geneva, Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghei has stated that sanctions removal is an inseparable part of any agreement on Iran's nuclear program. In a related development, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has warned that a U.S. warship deployed in the Gulf could be sunk, suggesting that while the warship is a dangerous weapon, it would be no match for Iran's own military capabilities. Let's listen into what he has shared.
هی میگن ما ناو فرستادیم طرف ایران. خیلی خوب. ناو البته یک دستگاه خطرناکی است، اما خطرناکتر از ناو اون سلاحی است که میتوانه این ناو رو به قعر دریا هی میگن ما جام بگیره، واقعا جای مذاکره نیست. اگر بنا شد مذاکره انجام بگیره، تعیین نتیجه مذاکره از قبل یه کار غلط و ابلهانه است. تو میگی بیا با هم حرف بزنیم درباره فلان موضوع به توافق برسیم. چرا نتیجه رو معین میکنی؟ باید حتما به این توافق برسیم.
Meanwhile, Iran has announced that parts of the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz will be closed for safety during military drills by its Revolutionary Guards. The closure, which will last for a few hours, is part of routine security measures, but raises concerns about the flow of global oil exports from the region. The Strait of Hormuz remains a crucial shipping route, connecting major Gulf oil producers with the broader international market. Now we welcome Mr. Glenn Grant. He's an ex-advisor to Defense Minister of Ukraine and a geopolitical commentator, joins us live from Kyiv. Thank you very much, Mr. Glenn, for joining us again.
Yeah, thank you.
Good to see you. Given Iran's confidence, we hear Iranian leader being so confident. What's your analysis on their capability? How capable are they, or is their defense now?
Well, it's probably less capable after the recent American strikes than it was before, but capability is always hard to judge with these things, because you have to, although they technically may not be as strong, for example, as a US warship sitting outside, you've always got to vector in the chance of luck playing a part. And it does do this. So there's always the chance that, they can strike lucky. But if you're actually balancing out Iranian abilities against American abilities, there is no comparison. The Americans are a lot more capable, a lot stronger. So this is a touch of bravado, on the part of Iranians, and I think it's more for internal consumption than it is for external.
Right. Thank you for highlighting that. And given Iran's insistence that lifting U.S. sanctions is a non-negotiable part of any nuclear agreement, both sides of this negotiation seem so hard-headed on their position. How do you think this is going to affect the both sides' ongoing potential negotiations?
Well, I think that there will be very little chance for maneuver here for either side, because US is not going to stop the sanctions. There's no question about that, and Iran is not going to stop its work towards getting a nuclear weapon. It knows it has to have this in the current world state and where it is, and the sort of antagonism that they have between themselves and Israel. So I don't think that either side is going to actually to give in at all on this, and we will just keep going along as we are at the moment for yet another year. Someone might actually be able to phone in and tell us how many years how many years these negotiations have been going on, but it's certainly a lot.
Yes, indeed. And today we saw in Strait of Hormuz the military drill that's being carried out. So with tensions rising, what are the risks of miscalculation between these forces, both located so close from each other now?
I think very little, actually, to be honest, because I don't think anybody's going to start something that they don't need to start. The Americans might just plonk themselves right in the middle of the operational area and defy Iran to do anything. But that's not a very clever way of doing business. And stopping the Strait is Iran's way of saying we're still in charge, we're still in control. Nobody's going to take a ship through if there's missile firing going on at the same time. The people will just curse and then carry on afterwards. But having said, as I said that, don't underestimate the Americans putting a ship right in the middle of it to make sure that it doesn't happen.
Right. And last but not least, how do you think, or what cards do you think Iran still has to play here? Is Strait of Hormuz part of these cards?
Well, I mean, I think the cards that they can play are not direct ones. They're indirect. They can still try to mess up things in Syria. They can still put Israel under pressure in different ways. And there are other countries around where they can actually meddle and force America and allies to spread their energies out around the region rather than just directly against Iran. So expect them to do something different that we're not expecting somewhere in the region in the near future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Glenn, for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we come back to you. Now, moving on, Sweden's security situation has deteriorated since last year, and the threats from Russia has been feared to increase through 2030, as Russian hybrid warfare is considered increasingly risky and reckless. According to reports, the threats against Sweden are very serious and the situation could worsen further. And the main reason for the deterioration situation is that Russia continues its war in Ukraine. The Sweden authorities have stated that the hybrid warfare from the Russian side has been seen as to weaken and divide the West. Now we welcome back Mr. Glenn Grant. He's an ex-advisor to Defense Minister of Ukraine and a geopolitical commentator. Thank you very much, Mr. Grant, for staying with us. Now looking at this, what more can you tell us about the situation that's escalating? And also, do you think that if European countries were more alert about Russian capabilities or their defense upgrades, Europe wouldn't be where it is today?
First of all, I think that you've got to separate the what's going on in Ukraine from what's going on around the rest of Europe. I mean, the idea by Russia that they can split the Western world by hybrid warfare is a false ambition. It's a false aim. It's not going to happen. One of the things that people don't realize is that Russia has been planning many of these activities for a long time. And you've got to go right back to sort of 2010 when they were actually blowing up ammunition dumps in Bulgaria. And nobody even thought then that it was Russia. Now we know that, of course, it was, and we know that, Russia blew up dumps in all sorts of places and has been actually continuing this hybrid warfare with the aim of causing atrocities to get people to weaken their strength against Russia. But actually, it's going to have the reverse effect. Every time Russia does an atrocity or tries to do an atrocity, whether that's on the railways, whether it's in the air, it just strengthens the resolve of Western powers. So we're going to see more of it because this is the only way Russia can do it without direct attacks, which they can't do at the moment. So the war will continue, and we're going to see something somewhere sooner or later that is not very nice at all.
And how can Sweden counter this as almost all of Europe is upping their increasing their defense budgets. How do you think Sweden should, or what do you think Sweden should prioritize?
Well, hybrid warfare is not a defense activity because it's internal, and defense systems are designed for protecting the country from external, not from actually activities happening internally. So this is more a Ministry of Interior activity, police, security services. So Sweden can obviously it can recruit more police, it can recruit more security services in the longer term, but in the short term, the best that it can do is just making sure that the public is aware through television, through political speeches, to make sure that the public is actually looking for signs of hybrid warfare occurring. And many countries have been quite successful in doing this. So that's it.
And last but not least, how do you analyze their capability right now? Also, does Sweden have some kind of this kind of Ministry of Interior that is alert on such?
Yes, it does. I mean, all ministries of interior do this. This is exactly the same throughout the whole of Europe. That these internal problems are police and security services, and they've got to be alert to what's going on. So Sweden is as good as anybody in this regard, perhaps even better because it's not such a cosmopolitan country in the majority of Sweden. It's got areas that have got a lot of immigrants, like Malmo, but even immigrants don't want to get blown up by Russia. So I think that good publicity, good intelligence, knowledge and understanding from people, again using television and radio and the press, are the only main defences that any country, especially Sweden, has got against Russia. But Russia's going to continue. Let's be clear about it. They're going to continue. They're going to cut cables. They're going to cut oil. They're going to cut oil pipes. They're going to cut anything they can, railway lines. And we just got to be on the alert for these things happening and being expected to happen.
With that, I'd like to thank Mr. Glenn Grant for joining us and sharing that insight. Thank you very much. Now we move on to Middle East. Palestinians in the West Bank and Jerusalem are preparing for the holy month of Ramadan as a ceasefire continues in Gaza. Markets are filling with shoppers and streets are being decorated with twinkling lights and lanterns ahead of the fasting period. Across the Middle East, communities are marking the approach of Ramadan with traditional displays and evening gatherings. For many Palestinians, the season brings a mix of spiritual anticipation and cautious hope amid ongoing regional tensions. As Ramadan draws near, families are hoping the calm holds, allowing worshippers to observe the holy month in peace despite the uncertainty still hanging over the region. Let's listen into what some locals have shared.
قبل الحرب هذا المكان كان متواجد بالزوار والناس، فبعد الحرب أصبح موحش، بطل حدا يجي عليه، فإحنا قلنا لازم إحنا ننشط رجل الناس على هذا المكان. فمن خلال التعليقات ومن خلال الشباب اللي أجوا يتفرجوا كانت يعني الفكرة الرئيسية إنه نعمل في أكثر مناطق فلسطين هلال رمضان ابتهاجا بالشهر الفضيل، يعني كما قال الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم تتزين الجنة بقدوم رمضان الكريم.
هلا احنا كتحضيرات رمضان احنا جاهزين، بس نتأمل ربنا يبعث الخير والرزق للناس. الوضع صعب جدا على العالم يعني.
Now we move on to Spain. The Spanish government has ordered an investigation into X, Meta, and TikTok over AI-generated child abuse material. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has announced the probe during a cabinet meeting, citing the creation and distribution of explicit content involving minors. Sanchez has stated that the investigation would focus on crimes linked to digital sexual violence on major social platforms. He has emphasized that the government's commitment to protecting children's rights, privacy, and mental health. This move comes amid increased scrutiny from European regulators targeting big tech companies for their role in spreading harmful online content. The platforms have not yet responded to the allegations. That's all we have time for. Keep watching NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.